Look at these puppies. Look at them. My dog had 9 puppies, and they're all boys. Look at them. They're so cute. Hey guys, this is Mr. Ash coming at you with another video. This week we're going to be talking about the art principle, repetition. Repetition is when an element of design is repeated within your piece or composition of artwork. Repetition is a great way to reinforce an element of design, to create texture, or also to reinforce an eye track, which is controlling the movement of one's eyes within a piece. Not only are we going to be talking about the principle of design repetition, but we are also going to be talking about doodling. Doodling. How to doodle, what doodles look like, different doodling artists, and also the benefits of doodling. What is doodling, you may ask? Well, doodling is when you're drawing with really not too much thought. You haven't really placed out your composition. You haven't planned a whole lot. You kind of know maybe the main structure of your piece, but what's within the structure of your piece is kind of what's freely moving and freely going. You're kind of drawing just whatever comes to mind and you place it on paper. What about mistakes? Well, you kind of work around them and you kind of use them to your benefit. As Bob Ross would say, there's no such thing as mistakes. It's just happy accidents. And really that's what we're going with doodling, and really how we're going to be using doodling today. There are a lot of cool doodling artists out there right now. They're up and coming, and doodling is really a pop culture type of thing right now for artists to do. It's been around for years, but for it to be able to hit mainstream and for people to get famous off of it, now's the time. Some doodling artists that are up and coming are a doodle artist called Mr. Doodles. Literally, that is his name. And he places great emphasis on the contrast between black and white. And he also loves to do large pieces, really big pieces of work, where he just loves to doodle all over the place. One time he doodled an entire bedroom. It's his dream to eventually doodle an entire city. Kind of crazy, but really cool. Another up-and-coming artist, his name is Becks, and he places a lot of great emphasis on little characters that interact with each other. He's got a really cool graffiti style within it all, and also he places great emphasis on color usage. Another artist that's within the style of doodling, his name is Leolu, and he comes from Nigeria, which is in Africa. And another one that places great emphasis on the contrast between black and white, but also uses color within his pieces as well. But he brings in this African tribal style, which is really cool and really unique. It's really neat to see artists within a same category of art that brings in their own style and their own history and their own traditions. Really, really neat. The kind of doodling that I want to place really big emphasis on today is a type of artwork called Zen Tangles. Zen Tangles. What is Zen Tangles, you may ask? Well, Zen Tangles are made up of repeating or structured patterns and textures. Making Zen Tangles can increase your focus while ramping up your creative abilities. Zen Tangles, as described from Maria Thomas and Rick Roberts, is a great ability to be able to get lost in time. But if you think about it, anytime you've put your focus or mind on one specific thing, that can start as something very tedious, but as you work at it, you kind of lose time and you kind of get lost within what you're working on. Now what we're going to do for this week is we're going to practice our Zentangles on little small squares, pieces of paper, which for Zentangles, Maria and Rick, they call this tiles. Okay, it's just keeping your design in a small space, and you're practicing out Zentangles. You're practicing on slowing your mind down and really working on just whatever comes to thought. Okay, now if you're like me, you know me, I like to plan. Plan. But this, there really isn't much planning. This, you're kind of working out your designs in a small space, and whatever comes to thought, you just kind of go with it. If you make a mistake, you work around it and you try to work that within your piece. It can be a lot of fun. So this week, make a few tiles. Try it out, work it out, see what you think. Next week, Zentangles Part 2, I'm going to show you how to incorporate it into a drawing. So, sit back, relax, watch the steps in which it takes to make these tiles, and then enjoy it. Practice it. See what you think. Alright? Stay creative. Keep designing. Keep being artists. You've got this.
Alright, so to start off with these Zentangle tiles, you're going to need to have paper and then writing utensils. Either that's with a pencil, a pen, or even Sharpies. It's up to you. I've got a ultrafine Sharpie and then a fine tip Sharpie to give me that contrast between thin and thick. And then here are the pages of the PDF that I want you to download. I have a Google link in the description below to where you can click on it, download it, and what this has is this has about 200 different designs that you can look at and find inspiration in order to fill in your spaces. Okay, so right here what I've got is I've got my first tile, and with a pencil very lightly I'm drawing in a border, because what I want is I want a nice white border around my tile, and then I want my designs to be within that border. At the end you're gonna see it just makes it look really sharp. And then again, drawing nice and lightly, I'm just placing in my first shape. Right now with this one I kind of wanted to go with a flame design. That was the first thing that came to head, and I'm going for it. Again, this is all about just whatever you think of, you just kind of do. You don't counteract your thought. If you think of, ooh, maybe I should do a line here, then do a line. So for example, right now, the design that I'm doing, on accident, I made a few lines too close together, and I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and keep going with it and make it look like it goes back into the distance. And I'm really happy that I did with it, because that really pushes emphasis up to the top of that corner. And if I wouldn't have done that, the design would not have had that emphasis. And that was done by just a mistake. Here I am going on to tile number 2. I wanted something a little more fluid, a little more soft, a little more gentle. So I kind of decided, you know what, let's go with this shape that is going upwards. And right when I did that, I kind of saw a flower. Again, I wanted to play between thick lines and thin lines, so that's why I had a ultrafine Sharpie and then a fine point Sharpie to give me that contrast between thick and thin. When you play with that contrast, some areas are placing more emphasis on others, and it really gets the eye to pay attention to certain areas versus others. So for example, that thick line around the flower really makes that flower pop. There's tile number 1 against tile number 2. And then last tile, tile number 3. I didn't really want anything specific. I didn't like I didn't want an object like a flame or a flower. I just wanted this to be fluid lines, and those lines create unique shapes, and then within those shapes I'm placing in different Zentangle designs. Again, there's no preparation. With this one, there was no preparation with pencil. I'm just going straight in with it with marker. I'm taking the chance for mistakes. If I do make a mistake, then I'm working around it. I'm making it work. I'm making it happen. Now that PDF that has the link in the description, that's really important. When you get stumped on a design, you can look at that PDF and be like, ooh, I like that design, and then you can attempt it, or you can change it. It's really helpful to be able to look at something and just kind of bump your ideas off of that file. And there's my 3 different tiles side by side. Guys, again, have a great time with this. Just try something new, have confidence, push yourself, explore. I know that some of you might be really uncomfortable with ooh, what if I make a mistake, or ooh, what if this doesn't turn out? It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You're learning in the process, you're learning something new, and you're challenging yourself. So, stay creative, get up, do something, be artists, try something new, have fun, just do it.